Alright everybody, welcome back to the channel. So, been a few days since I did a video. They've been working pretty serious construction wise, real close to my house, and I've been working with the doors open so the camera picks up all that noise. In fact, you can probably hear some in the distance. I'll show you what I'm talking about. If you'll look right over here, you can see a huge pile of trees, and then right above the hood of my truck you can see it again. So they're clearing lots for the new houses, and when they're doing that stuff, it's kind of loud, so I haven't been filming much, but I have got a lot done. So I wanted to do a quick update and show you what I've got done. So as promised, I've finally gotten around to doing the Holley Dominator install, and I'm probably in the 2, maybe 3% complete range. And for those of you who've done this before, you know exactly what I'm talking about. There is a huge amount of wires in this thing, and it's just a lot of work. So I'm going to take the camera and turn it around and show you what I got on the bench, and we can kind of go from there. All right, so this probably isn't going to mean much until you see it put on the car, but these two plugs are the main plugs for the engine harness, and this portion of the harness is what goes inside the car. And of course, everything you see right here and this goes into the engine bay. Then of course, this portion is for the coils, for the smart coils specifically. So what all that means is that I have a long ways to go. That's what it means. I did tone the wires. I verified them, if you will, end to end. So I put an ohm meter on them, put it on the audible so you can hear it when there's continuity from the wires, and I checked the continuity from the ECU all the way to where it connects to the coil. And you ask, why did I do that? Well, because in this plug there is 47 wires. There are 47 wires in that plug alone. And to get those pins in and out of that particular plug is an absolute nightmare. So before that gets buried in the car, I just want to make sure that it's all good. And speaking of buried in the car, it's time to get started on that. So let's move ahead and see what we got going. Okay, so I have breezed by a lot of the wiring and not filmed any of it because it was already done in a previous video, nearly exactly the same or very similarly to how I've done it here. But I will show you what I've got so far. So check this out. This time I put the bulkhead connector in the same place, but we used one of those boots, a 90-degree boot, so it kind of points the wires the direction you want. Still, it fits great and it looks great, but it's not easy to put in, meaning the whole harness after it's assembled and all that stuff. It still takes a little bit of effort, but I think the good part about it is that the harness, you can just unplug it from the firewall and the engine's ready to come out as far as electrical is concerned. Previously, I would have just taken it off the engine, and you could have it off the car in like a minute, maybe 2 minutes tops. This is a little more difficult, but I just won't do it that way. That's all there is to it. But here, let me turn the camera around, check it out, tell me what you think. All right, so there's the bulkhead, and the rubber boot is in place. And then all the, all the harnesses are all shrink wrapped nice and stuff, and it looks pretty good. I got a few ends that I need to terminate, like the coolant sensor, and then I got the other coolant sensor with the pressure sensor built in, and just a bunch of miscellaneous stuff. So far it turned out really good, but I'm gonna skip around a little bit. It's being that I hurt the engine before and I don't know exactly what happened or why it happened. We're going to go ahead and clean and flow all the injectors and check them out again, and I've already started that process here, so I'll turn the camera around. You can check that out too. So this machine really isn't made to flow these giant injectors. This is more for like OEM style stuff. So if you run these big injectors too long, it'll actually fill these things up too far. So I only run this number 10 cycle on these, which is like a high-speed spray value test, 1500 cycles. And that's pretty much it right there. All right, and knowing what I know about these injectors from before, those numbers really aren't that bad right there. So my primary injectors really are not in that bad of shape, I guess is where I was going with that. I'm still going to sonic clean them and flow them again and see what the difference is, and then we can kind of go from there. But those numbers aren't bad. So the problem did not come from these injectors, at least the primary injectors, and that's what I expected to find. Where I do expect to see a problem is from the methanol injectors, which will be coming up next. Okay, so I put the injectors in the ultrasonic cleaner. I flowed the second set, and they were real similar to the first set. There was one injector that was a little bit on the weak side. Hopefully I'm not too close to that ultrasonic cleaner and the sound isn't all jacked up, but I'll put the camera over there by that thing. You guys get an idea. That ultrasonic cleaner really messes up the microphone in the camera. Check it out. So those things run for about 9 minutes or 10 minutes a set, per set of 4. And man, that ultrasonic cleaner works really good as far as cleaning them is concerned. So the next thing we'll do is after we do the 8 primary injectors, we'll put the methanol injectors in and see how they look. But they're going to be bad. I expect them to be bad. So we'll see that here in a minute. Okay, so I pulled the methanol injectors out, and it's really hard to say how much of a problem there was at the time that the car was actually running, since it's been sitting a few months. The flip side of that is there shouldn't have been any methanol in the lines when the car was sitting, at least not up to the injectors, I don't think. But anyways, I want to show you what these injectors look like on the inside. I'll just show you one. Hopefully the camera can pick this up. You can see it's real cloudy on the inside and contaminated or something, I guess. And I don't think that that's the methanol attacking the injectors. I think it's the methanol is attacking the little tiny fuel rails that the injectors are in, because they're bare aluminum. So I'm going to put them in the cleaning machine and see how they turn out. So surprisingly enough, the methanol injectors really weren't that bad at all. There's one that's a little bit dirty, not terrible, and totally acceptable. So this is where they flowed at this time. And that second one from the left is a little bit on the light side, and the first one from the left is a little bit heavy. And in my past experience, some dirty injectors will actually appear to flow a little bit more. Not sure what happens there or why they do that, but once you clean them, they usually average out a lot better. So anyways, we're gonna clean these as well and get that put back together. All right, so I got the methanol injectors out of the cleaner, and check it out. They actually look really good. From the naked eye, they look like they're brand new. You can see inside of it really clean also. The one thing that I did notice is that the injectors that have the brown O-rings on them like this, these particular O-rings are really hard, from either from the methanol or from the cleaner. I didn't notice it before I put them in the cleaner, so it's entirely possible that it was because of that. I tend to lean towards the methanol though, especially since those particular O-rings, I'm gonna look again, but the top O-ring, or the O-ring closest to the fuel side, that's the one that's pretty hard. And then the O-ring that's not towards the fuel side is not hard. So probably from the methanol. Anyways, they didn't leak, no big deal. So let's look at the car. I've done some other stuff since I filmed that last few segments, the last few minutes. And I'll turn the camera around so you can get a good look. So most of the wiring is done. There's just a couple more of these left since probably even earlier in the video. I don't remember what all was in there. So I need to terminate this wire so it connects to the cam sensor, or vice versa. That's actually the crankshaft. That one's for the cam. A few fuel rail fittings. I have to make these spacers and put a bolt in there because somebody lost them or they didn't come with it. I lean towards the I probably lost it thing in the move. Then it's ready to start. So definitely making some serious progress here. So that's all I can think of right now. Okay guys, so that's going to be the end of the video. This particular video, 10 or 12 minutes long, whatever it ends up being, is the culmination of about 40 hours in the garage trying to get the engine bay wiring sorted out and get the car ready to start. The next portion of this build is going to be doing the wiring on the inside of the car, or finishing it up. Right now I'm in the twist everything together and make it run stages to make sure that what I've done to this point is still good, or is good. So yeah, it's a lot of work. That's what I'm getting at. So the next video, hopefully, will be starting the car. It's getting really close to that point right now, so time to move forward, do something big. I'm ready. We got a race coming up in 2 weeks, a big race. So if you're in town, the Redemption Goes Rogue race is going to be at the Motorplex. I think it's the weekend of November 13th and 14th. $10,000 to win in the Cub something or other class. I can't remember what it is. It's a class. It's a 5.0 cap. Has to be on a 275 tire. Working headlights, taillights, you know, all that kind of jazz. And my car fits well, and that's capable of running those 5.0s. So be sure to watch for that as well. If you haven't, please subscribe. Give it a thumbs up. Be sure to follow us on Instagram. And as usual, I post all of the stuff that I use on the channel in the comments or in the description down below, most of which goes to an Amazon account. So please be sure to check it out. Outside of that, thanks for stopping by, and we will see you in the next video.